By their very nature, cartoons are able to play fast and loose with the natural laws of the universe, and much humor has been derived from a character being able to do something that's impossible in reality. But this humor comes from the subversion of what we understand to be the norm, and for the absurd to work, it needs to be contrasted by some sort of grounding measure. There needs to be the presence of realism in order for it to be defied. When I started on this project, I was interested in looking at some of the Academy Award-winning Tom and Jerry shorts from the 1940s and seeing how each short handled the presentation of physical space in the cartoon. Did the animators fashion a realistic, coherent setting? Or did they simply draw what was necessary for the desired gag to take place? I soon noticed that these shorts were often more like a series of vignettes with unspecified amounts of time passing between each of Tom's failed attempts to apprehend Jerry, and each scene taking place without any relational context to the greater layout of the house they were in. However, the 1945 cartoon Quiet Please is different. Virtually all of the action takes place in a single room and is centered around Spike, who's napping in front of the fireplace. And the events unfold essentially in real time, with only quick cuts between the action and the musical cues tying each scene directly together. This makes it perfect to analyze and see if the setting makes logical sense as a physical space. The cartoon opens on Spike trying to take a nap in front of the fireplace when Tom begins making all kinds of noise in his attempts to put an end to Jerry. The fireplace is our point of orientation, to which the rest of the cartoon takes place in relation to. You can see a bit of the burgundy chair that Jerry hides behind right at the start here. The leg appears to be different, but when we see more of it later on, it's clear that the front legs are a different design than those in back, and this is actually the same chair.
Chum, take it easy. Lay off the noise, huh? 'Cause if I hear one more sound, I'm gonna skin you alive!
Here, Spike appears to throw Tom in a straight line, implying that the wall the fireplace is attached to continues on for quite some distance. When Tom recovers, he spots Jerry, and the chase begins. They round a corner, and we find ourselves back with Spike in front of the fireplace. But wait, where did the chair go? This was an unbroken shot, but the chair is definitely missing. The key here is in the perspective. The camera is placed at a slightly different angle looking at the fireplace than when the chair was there. And so, this is actually a completely different background than the one previously seen. And while it's meant to represent the same spot, there's already an inconsistency here. If the first angle was the chair angle, then let's call this the table angle, as we can see a small circular end table, as well as another table in the extreme foreground. When Tom backs up around the corner, we get a look at a border wall of the house. Note the dresser and curtained window. Of course, in cartoons you can move as fast as the plot allows you to, as long as you do it out of frame. When they round this corner, there are two likely ways they would be coming into the room. Somewhere here, or here. Because of the direction that Tom looks to see Jerry with the gun, and the direction he runs into frame, I prefer the first option. Note that this is the chair angle on the fireplace. Now Jerry is perched on top of the fireplace mantel, and as Tom rushes to catch the falling light bulbs, we get a view of some of the left wall of the room, and a clear view of another room on the other side of an archway. When Jerry walks up to plug him in, we can also see that there's another corner, making this wall shorter than the wall with the fireplace on it. Yet just a few seconds later, when Jerry comes around the corner, the house has seriously changed. Gone is the archway, replaced with a solid corner, and we get a view of the yellow curtains and pink sofa that decorate this wall.
Like a toy baby on the treetop. When the wind blows that way, la 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 la, and la 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 loo la la tia tia tia. Go to sleep, go to sleep. Close your big bloodshot eyes.
Notice the angle on the fireplace has switched from table to chair, after the close-up on the knockout drops. The corner Jerry marches out from is one of the two corners on the right side wall, so whether it's the top or bottom corner, the background furniture has changed. The only scene outside of the fireplace room, the kitchen stays consistent through the few shifts in camera angle that are present. Note, though, that the writing on the note magically changes sides. Back to Spike at the table fireplace, and notice the pink couch and yellow curtains. This area of the room has maintained continuity. We simply didn't see this blue couch from the previous angle when Tom was on roller skates. The cartoon wraps up back at the chair fireplace, although I think it's worth noting that the debris flying in the frame during Tom's beating doesn't resemble anything we saw in the room earlier. So, are these inconsistencies really a big deal? Any details of the room that the characters are actually concerned about are only present when the plot calls for them, and besides the burgundy chair, their presence or lack of presence is probably not going to be noticed by a normal viewer. And perhaps because this cartoon was made before television and personal media players, the animators didn't have to worry about people viewing it again and again enough times to catch mistakes like this. In the end, I suppose what matters is if the cartoon is funny or not. And Quiet Please is definitely funny.